This is an SNNLive Newscast. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, Editor-in-Chief of StockNewsNow.com. Today we're doing a Q1 2016 business and earnings review with Richard Schumacher, President and CEO of Pressure BioSciences, Inc. We are speaking with him via Skype from his office in Boston, Massachusetts. Pressure BioSciences, Inc. is a public company with the ticker symbol PBIO. Rick, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bob.
It's our pleasure to have you as always. So first off, before we get into anything else, let's get an overview of Pressure BioSciences.
Sure. We're a publicly traded company on the OTC markets. The symbol is PBIO. We are a life science tools company. Basically, we make instruments and associated consumables that we sell to the scientific research market all over the world. It's a very, very large market. Our systems are made to help scientists break open cells. These cells can be cancer cells, normal cells, viruses, bacteria. These cells contain all the good stuff, the proteins, the lipids, the DNA, the RNA, all the molecules, we actually call them biomolecules, that scientists use to study, to look for the next cure, to look for the next way to prevent an infection or an outbreak. And we make instruments that basically have taken the ability to break open these cells into the 21st century. As a scientist, I can tell you, Bob, that we spent many years in the lab just physically breaking samples, mechanically breaking samples. Our system uses pulses of pressure. We actually put these samples, these cells, under pressure and we squeeze them, like squeezing a sponge. And rather than beating up a cell to break it open, which is what the common methods are now, we actually squeeze them with pulses of pressure back and forth until they break. It's much more controllable. It's exquisitely controllable, in fact. And I'm happy to say that we now have over 100 publications that have been published by independents all over the world that are talking about the advantages of squeezing cells with pressure to break them open rather than to mechanically beat them up.
So, you talked about it a little bit just now, but just in a nutshell, what is the company selling and who's its target market or target customer?
Well, we're selling instruments and consumables. The instruments cost about $40,000 to $50,000, and they're basically an instrument that has a pressure chamber in it. The chamber is filled with water, and we compress the water. And inside the water, we put, let's call them test tubes. The test tubes contain the samples, the cells, the bacteria, the viruses that we need to break open. And as we compress the water in the pressure chamber, every cell in the test tube that we sell also feels the pressure and breaks. And everything in nature has its own pressure point. We'll break at a different pressure. And once we can determine that, if this cell breaks at 20,000 pounds per square inch and another one at 40, we can go to 30,000 pounds and break the one cell and not break the other. Our target market are the researchers around the world that are biological researchers. And we think, Bob, there are as many as 500,000 researchers in about 80,000 labs that every day, every week, every month, somebody in that lab has got a cell. Again, a precancer, a cancer, a normal animal, plant, microbe, human, doesn't matter. They need to break it open because all of the secrets that we're trying to find out are pretty much on the surface or in the cell. So we can't just look at it in a microscope anymore. We need to break open the cell and free up as many as 10,000 different proteins and 1,000 different lipid molecules to do our studies.
Okay, so just recently this week, you put out your Q1 2016 financials. So I wanted to get into it a little bit. Just what were some of the highlights from your financials this past quarter?
Well, you're absolutely right. This week we put out our Q, we put out a press release, and we had a conference call, and that is available on our website, pressurebiosciences.com. And we talked about the financials and also the business update that's so important. We are a developing company. We are developing a product line that is very, very cutting edge and very new. And as we're doing that, it's very important to bring on key opinion leaders and very important to bring on partners that can help us market our products. And we talked about both of those in the first quarter review, as well as what we considered a very, very good financial quarter. On the financial end, our highlights, first of all, we raised another $1.4 million, which brought our $5 million goal to $6.3 million. So using that $6.3 million over the last 9 months, We have paid off all of the what we call variable rate debt. This is very difficult, expensive debt that could hurt the company. We've paid it all off before anybody that lent us the money could convert their loan into stock. And that's very important. In fact, we're one of the few, if not the only company that's probably ever paid off 100% of their variable rate notes, so I'm told. So it's very, very important that we did that. We also had sales increase, and our sales broke $500,000 for the quarter for only the second time in our history. So we're very proud about that. Thirdly, we had a market increase in instrument sales and in product sales, and that was very important. So all of those are moving in the right direction. On the business end, in the first quarter, we announced that we have a co-marketing arrangement that was announced on January 12th with the amazing company called SCIEX. SCIEX is part of a very large group of companies that's under the umbrella of Danaher, and they're about a $70 billion company, Danaher. And SCIEX is one of these, and they're the leading company in the world, as far as we can tell, in selling an instrument called a mass spectrometer. And these are sold to labs throughout the world to study proteins. Our system, our instruments that we sell, sit in front of mass spectrometers and other instruments, but primarily right now mass spectrometers, and we actually make them better. We're there to break open the cells, to release the proteins before they're further processed and then put into the mass spectrometer and read. So when you're thinking about science and you're thinking about the next big thing and the next drug and the next cure, a lot of it is coming from studying proteins. And the number one way to study proteins are to get them out of cells and put them in a mass spectrometer. We're the guys that can sit in front of a mass spectrometer to help get them out of the cell better, faster, with higher quality than we've seen before.
All right. So another thing that you talked about in the conference call and also in your financials is you brought up some of your near-term goals for Q2 and Q4, for Q2 through Q4 2016. So, from what you can tell me, what are some of your expectations moving ahead?
Well, as you know, as a publicly traded company, we need to be careful on what we say, but we did put out some guidance, and we did put out some goals. The guidance that we gave is that we felt that our revenue this year would significantly surpass last year's revenue, which, by the way, was significantly higher than the year before. So 2 years ago, we did 1.3 million in revenue. Last year, we did 1.8. In the first quarter, we did over 500,000. Annualized, that's over 2 million. And we believe we'll be closer to the 2.5 million. Our goal is to reach 2.5 million this year. And we're doing this right now with the same group of 10 people that we've had for basically the last 4 years. We have one person in sales, and we've actually cut her sales time in half because she's spending half of her time in marketing and working with our colleagues at our co-marketing partner, SCIEX. So we've got limited capacity to go out and sell the instrument, and yet our sales are increasing, partly because we're bringing on additional key opinion leaders, true, wonderful, well-respected scientists in their fields, again, in fields of animals and microbes and human disease. And these individuals are coming on using our systems and are publishing and presenting about the advantages. So we talked about increasing the number of key opinion leaders that we will bring on this year, because this is basically a part of our sales approach, is to have the papers and publications from these KOLs. Number two, we talked about the fact that we've got a co-marketing deal with one of the top, if not the top, analytical company out there in selling mass spectrometry instruments in SCIEX, and we want to work more closely with them. We've already started to do joint programs. We've already had one workshop at a major meeting 2 months ago where we were on the agenda with them, and we were able to talk about pressure cycling technology and how our technology works hand in glove with their downstream mass spectrometer. Another major objective of this year for us, in addition to increasing sales, increasing our product line, is to finish the development and start selling our brand new instrument. We're very excited about this instrument, Bob. It is our number one selling instrument up to now, but it is an instrument that we designed about 7 years ago. So we've redesigned this instrument. We've taken it from being run by a microprocessor to being run by a very strong computer. We brought in a number of additional assets and bells and whistles that the customers we have been asking for. This is an instrument that we've already designed. We've already developed the first prototype, and now I'm happy to say in the last week, the first 2 manufactured units came off the assembly line. And so we're very excited. Our goal is to have this available for sale in the first week of June and thereafter for SciEx customers, and also for many, all other customers that need to have something to break up their samples prior to their mass spectrometer. Another goal, and another key goal, is to uplist the company from the OTC markets to the NASDAQ market. We've been working on this for about a year. It's a very complex, difficult, time-consuming goal, but we feel like we are on target to get this company uplisted by the end of this year. And everything we do, we keep in mind, what do we need to do to have this company uplisted back to NASDAQ before the end of the year? So that's another major goal. So it's a lofty set of goals for a company of 10. But we also don't expect to be a company of 10 by the end of the year. We've raised money. We're interviewing people. As I said, we have one person in sales who's now half-time because of her marketing responsibilities. We will be hiring at least 2, maybe as many as 4 salespeople in the second half of this year. And we're excited to think about, with a new instrument, with a new partner, with a lot of debt off of the balance sheet, and with salespeople coming in, we're really looking forward to a really good second half of this year.
So where can our audience go and find more information about Pressure BioSciences, Inc.?
Well, you said it right there, www.pressurebiosciences.com. That's our website. It's stocked with a lot of information about the company. They can always call the company. I'm happy. I talk with investors just about every day. More than happy to talk with investors. But certainly pressurebiosciences.com will give them a lot of information about this exciting technology and this small company that we think is gotten to a threshold, and we're at a point now where this inflection point that we're at, we're very excited about it because we think we set the company up for success. And I know you'll be back to interview me sometime in the next few months, and we'll find out whether or not we've done a good job at that.
Absolutely. Rick, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate it.